Good morning, everybody. Mark Sussman from Willamette Week. Delighted to be here this morning with Himalaya Rao and Marceau Michel, and I apologize if I slightly mispronounced your names wrong.
That's great.
We're good, good. So we're talking this morning because here we are, thank God, after the election. And there has been a lot of discussion, I guess most prominently because of the killing of George Floyd, about institutional racism in this country. And a lot of the conversation has focused on police brutality. But what I wanted to talk to you about is the fact that you folks are at the front line of a recognition that if all we do is take care of police brutality, we really won't have addressed what are really some of the more profound obstacles to a truly racist-free society. And that's as it relates to the ability of people of color to engage in capital markets and business. So the two of you are venture capitalists. And I got to tell you, we put on a very large event that's taking place in December 2nd, 3rd, and 4th called TechFest Northwest. We will have 100 startups pitching. We've probably got 40 venture capitalists who are judging. You two, for some reason, don't seem to be the typical venture capitalist. And it's not just because of the color of your skin. Your backgrounds are a little bit unusual. So can we start with just a brief bio of each of you?
Please, Himalaya.
Oh, okay. All right. Sure. Yeah, my background is definitely varied. I was actually a school social worker out in the Bronx, and I have a master's in social work. From social work, I actually wanted to understand, like, proactively how to help communities, especially communities of color, and that got me into consulting with nonprofits. Then went into consulting for for-profits because the organizational effectiveness spans both. Through that, then decided to get my MBA, and actually through a series of different mentors, fell into entrepreneurship and realized that was kind of the calling all along. My wife and I launched a company, which then led me into the venture capital space. I helped to manage a fund that's run out of Willamette University. And then through that, gained a lot of really practical experience that I think is really rare in this space for people to have. It's very relationship based and referral based. And I was able to actually get hands-on experience on deal screening and sourcing. So that was a huge benefit to me. And then I realized that for me, it felt like the merge between social work and business, because I got to be part of the redistribution of wealth to incredibly smart and talented people.
So the two of you, I don't know if you run into people and they say, "What do you do?" And do you say you're a venture capitalist? Is that what you say?
No, I've learned to stop saying that because no one knows what you're talking about.
What do you say?
I say I'm an investor. I say I'm an investor. I invest in tech companies, right? And then if someone asks specifically, it's like and they say, like, well, what industry? And I'm like, well, our focus is actually, like, on a specific demographic. We're industry agnostic, but we have a demographic that we're focused on. So I say I'm an investor because people are like, oh, and then people think that, like, having an investor means that you have a lot of money. And it's like, no, I don't. However, I do have resources that have been given to my fund that we go out and invest. So it's like, yeah. So I say I'm an investor. I never say I'm a venture capitalist because people don't really know, unless you're in the startup scene. Venture capital kind of is a very niche kind of work. What do you say?
So, no, go ahead.
I would say I'm very much in the startup ecosystem much more. I work with Portland Seed Fund and I work with lots of actually like other like subsidiary funds, with the Mid Valley Fund, with Angel Oregon. And so I do a lot of work in the investment space. I do some like help with the PSU's venture class. And so I would say I'm much more like entrenched and enrooted in the venture capital scene in Portland and in Oregon. And so, yeah, people know me as a venture capitalist, and they know what that means specifically because I'm everywhere in that.
You're
scene.
in that world. So for those of our viewers who aren't in that world, when you're a venture capitalist, you're typically raising money from either wealthy individuals or institutions who are convinced that you know what the next big hit is. You invest in startup companies, either companies that have no revenue or just early stage companies, and you take an equity position with the hopes that when those companies sell, you make money not only for the two of you, but for your investors.
Yes.
So all kinds of challenges. The first challenge is you have to go out and raise money, and you set yourself a target of $10 million. So the two of you, who are you raising money from? And what obstacles, if any, are you facing?
Yeah. So we have a two-pronged approach to fundraising, as you mentioned, Mark. One is through high net worth individuals. The other is through entity levels and family offices. Actually, in the beginning, one of the things we realized is we wanted to be really inclusive of the types of investors we wanted to invest with, right? We see this as a long-term partnership. A venture fund is not something where you invest money today, you get money out the next day, right? And so it is a long-term partnership. And so we have been really careful on exactly the type of partners we want to work with. And so and I will just say, I will just put in this notion. I think you can see Marceau is an excellent storyteller, and he's able to create such a incredible brand strength around this notion and this mission. And so we've been really, really lucky. I felt like one of our struggles was going to be in reach, and that actually hasn't been our struggle. It's been mostly filtering through and finding the right investors that align with our mission and aren't doing it as like just a kind of trend way, but actually, and aren't doing it for charity. I think that is like our main focus, is ensuring that the people we bring on as partners understand what we understand, which is we see strength in the Black community. We see them as innovative problem solvers. We see them as people that can change the narrative around what entrepreneurship is, who is investable, who can have an exitable company. And so that's kind of like more of the challenge of, can we find investors that are aligned with our mission? Thankfully, what we have found is we've found incredible partners in that.
Your fund, the intent of your fund is to invest in startups that have founders who are
Black.
BIPOC, Black.
Black.
Okay.
So in our
People-
first,
It's not BIPOC.
in our,
This fund is
in,
Black
yeah,
Founders Matter. It's not BIPOC.
in our first fund, we are focusing specifically on Black entrepreneurs. Oftentimes what we see is, and that's, you know, kind of the reason for the BIPOC term, right? And when we just look at POC, especially when we look at POC, Black founders, Black entrepreneurs, Black people are kind of left out of that mix when you just promote a POC diversity initiative.
Right, because this is the thing, is like, and just a brief thought before we go on, is that like BIPOC includes Asian men. Asian men are not underrepresented when it comes to you know, venture capital, right? And tech, right? And so a lot of times that the term BIPOC with good intentions, people end up kind of getting washed out in that process. And like being in a place, and then it's funny because people ask like, do you want to just do a BIPOC? That sounds safer, like, because that includes women. And that like it's like you want to, it's like BIPOC, you want to do like everyone except for white people, right? And like, that's what BIPOC is, right? It's everyone except for like Caucasians, right? And you know, and then you say do minorities now, and now it includes like white women as well. And we're like, that's great. There are a lot of funds doing that, but it's also okay to like put our flag down in the dirt and say, no, we're going to invest $10 million in Black entrepreneurs. $10 million is not enough. Like, it's funny because people are like, are there enough deals for this $10 million? I'm like, no, like you could give us $100 million and it wouldn't be enough, because there's so much innovation that's happening. There's so many startups that are popping up, and what we need as a society, we need more problem solvers. Startups are about solving problems, creating products that solve a problem for us, right? And if we're only looking to one community or two communities to create solutions for everyone, it makes our society in general weaker. We need more people contributing their ideas to make a bigger thing for all of us.